Nintendo 64 Fun Time.
What is up, YouTube? Nintendo 64 Fun Time coming back at you today. What am I doing today? I actually have a day off from work. Yeah, I actually get to play with my Brawler64 controller. Believe it or not, I unboxed this video. I did my unboxing video a few days ago. I haven't played with it yet because I just haven't had time. Work gets really crazy, so I have to wait till my work weekend's over. So here we go. I finally get to play with this thing. I'm so excited. They did such a good job. I have a few games picked out that I had in my mind that are going to be maybe test this controller, and then maybe may or may not work really well with this controller, and then to test the joystick really well. So I picked out a few games to be able to do that with. And I'm really excited. So here we go. Alright guys, so the first game I have for you that I wanted to show you with the Retro Fighters controller was 1080 snowboarding. And the reason why I wanted to do 1080 is they have the training mode where you can do all the tricks, and I wanted to see how well the joystick rotates. This is going to be a really good one for doing especially the 1080s and stuff like that. Because it uses most of the buttons and then you know, the rotation, so it's going to be good to kind of check that out. So we'll just go through all the tricks here and then we'll get to the rotation tricks. It feels pretty good. The A and B buttons are pretty poppy, and the joystick seems to snap back to its original spot like really quickly. I don't know if that's weird. Maybe. The buttons are definitely more poppy, like they're softer, but they like come back. Okay, so I'm having trouble getting it into that corner. There we go. And with the octagonal gate, like I talked about in my unboxing video, see how I'm shoving it into the corners? It's a little bit more difficult because I feel like it's more like the GameCube. Let's see, R. Right. So it's a little bit harder to get into the corners than the original Nintendo 64 controller. 180. Alright, here we go. Here's the big... No problem doing the rotations. No problem doing the rotations. That was actually way easier than the original one.
180, 365, 40.
Yeah, sweet.
360, 360. 365, 180.
Sweet. I'm not seeing any problems with the rotations. The only problem that I've noticed so far is the getting it into the corners, because the octagonal gate I think is a little bit.
360. 360, 720.
Yeah, it rotates really nice, guys.
360, 720. 360, 720. 360, 180.
Yeah, this is really nice. The joystick is really nice. It's just butter.
360, 720.
I'm not gonna do this whole thing. Like I said, I did this to really try out the joystick. It feels really good for this too. I always have problems rotating this way too. Let's see if I can do. Get to the end of this and do a 1080.
180. 180.
I always have problems rotating this way, and I think it's because I can't complete.
360, 900.
Oh yeah, that Z button's in a good spot for this.
360, 720.
Nope.
360, 900.
Well, so that was really good. I actually really liked that. It rotates really well. Getting it into the corners is a little bit harder than the original one, but the octagonal gate kind of helps with that. The A and B buttons might be a little bit lower than it feels like on the original one, but you can still you still get used to the controller really easily. And then having that Z button on the left side is really, really nice. So I'm going to stop it there. We're going to go on to the next game that I'm going to show you. So the next game that we're doing is a game called Band.io. It's a Japanese release game only. And the reason why I chose this game is because on the original controller, I'm going to pause this and just grab my other one real quick so I can show you guys. So on the original controller, you have the option of using the D-pad along with the C buttons because you need 2 joysticks for this game, or you can use the joystick and the C buttons or the joystick and the D-pad. So there's like a whole bunch of combinations that you can do. So this game you're gonna have to use, because of the way that the controller is set up, you're gonna have to use the joystick and then the C buttons. Because you can't really use the joystick and the D-pad because they're right next to each other. So you're going to be using the joystick and the C buttons. And I just wanted to kind of see how the C buttons work as like another joystick, like I talked about in Turok before. Okay, so you actually have to use the D-pad. I'm using the D-pad. Okay. To move your guy, you have to use the D-pad. And I think you can change it, but now I'm using the C buttons as the direction to shoot. Which I remember when I originally played it, I preferred to use the D-pad to shoot because it was a little more. It was so much better. So I'm actually doing this right now. I don't know if you can see this. I gotta get my controller really close. So I'm actually like doing this to try to play because this is the way I prefer to play it. So it's actually really, really kind of weird. All right, let me see if I can get a good. Yeah, you can't play with the joystick. You have to play with the D-pad, and then move your guy with the D-pad. So, man, it's hard because it feels really good playing this game, especially because I kind of like the D-pad. You can like get your finger in the middle, and it's really rocky, so you can get a good groove with your D-pad. But I really, really, really much prefer to shoot with the joystick. You can't do that really well in this game now. I hate to say it, but I think I prefer the original controller. Let's see. If I can figure out a way to control this properly. Gotta do it that way. Yeah, it feels good. Like it feels like it should. But I think I prefer this game with the original controller. I hate to say it, but I do. I think it would just take some getting used to. With this controller. See, like right now I'm starting to kind of get it down. But yeah, I think it's just what I'm used to. Like this isn't really bad. It's really responsive. And if you guys haven't played this game before, you kind of don't know what I mean. Because the controls are super awkward. It's a Treasure game, so Treasure literally likes to use every single button on the controller in a really weird way. So if that's all I gotta say is it's a Treasure game and it controls just like a Treasure game does. Okay, so I'm getting used to it now. It's really not too terribly bad. Yeah, okay. It's fine. I just gotta get used to it. I'm not used to it. That's all it is. play this game. Now! Here we go. I don't know why I didn't have this guy before. He's got a lock-on shot. It's way easier than the lasers. So, okay. Yeah, like the other treasure game that I can think of is Mischief Makers. I think they use kind of a weird combination of the D-pad and the everything too. So that game might have been a little bit awkward, but it was kind of easy to kind of get used to it with using the joystick. Or no, I can't use the joystick, the D-pad and the C buttons. So it's not what I prefer, but I still could do it. So it worked really well, though. I like the feel of the D-pad, but I don't know. I might still prefer the original controller specifically for that game. But let's move. Okay, so moving onward, one of the games I specifically talked about in my unboxing video was GoldenEye. So this is a game that I really want to play with this. And again, specifically for the Z buttons, using the Z buttons to shoot, and then being able to aim with R and using the opposite. I think if I'm going to use the Z button, I'm going to be using the left one a lot more than using the right one. I understand why they put them on both sides, because you're used to using your right hand as your primary shooter for like Call of Duty and stuff like that. But in GoldenEye, I'm gonna try the left and just see how that goes, because you're using your R to aim and then shooting with your other one. So, ooh, it's a little awkward. Ooh. It's just weird. It's weird. I'm not used to it. It doesn't feel bad. I don't know if I like the Z being so soft. The Z is really soft. And it's got a lot of travel. So the Z picks up really early in the button press. But the actual Z to like hold it all the way down is a really long button press. I don't know. So it might be a little too squishy. And I'll show you here in a second. So if you see the Z here, how high it's raised, when you depress it, it actually starts shooting right there. So I'm not depressing it very far. It's just a tap, and the gun will shoot. But what I'm doing is I'm pressing it hard, because that's what I'm used to. So you have all of this travel. So I'm shooting, and it seems like it's taking a long time to shoot because the button depresses so far, whereas in your original controller, the Z button has hardly any travel, and there's a nice pop to it. So you hit it, and it's done. It's done. So I feel like you can shoot way faster with the original controller because the button itself has way less travel, and it's a little more poppy. It snaps back, I feel like, a little bit quicker. That being said, I don't not like it. It's just something that I'm not used to specifically for these Nintendo 64 games. And it's like you almost have to just tell yourself, hey, don't press the button all the way down. You just gotta tap the button. But you don't want to. You want to push the button all the way down until you feel solid contact. But you can't shoot as fast that way. So that's a little weird. And hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, like when I'm saying that. But again, the joystick itself feels really good with this. The buttons feel really good. The placements seem okay once you get used to it. It's just something that you gotta get used to. So, yeah, if I'm gonna have one critique, it's gonna be how far whoops, how far the Z has to travel. So it is what it is, but I still like it. I think the biggest improvement is just the joystick just feels really good for this game. So yeah, I like it. It's just something you got to get used to. It feels really good. Holding it, like I've been holding it for a while in my hands now, the actual shape fits my hand really well. I don't really have fatigue, so it's a little bit fatter than the actual Nintendo 64 one, so it's really comfortable as you hold it. And yeah, it feels good. Like I said, I know I said this 1,000 times, but if I had to critique something, it's just how far the Z travels. I'd like to see the Z not have as much travel and maybe have it be more poppy than springy, because this one has, like, if you've ever seen the inside guts of a Nintendo 64, it's basically like a rubber, just little thing similar to the rubber on a keyboard where you hit it and it's just like, it's a rubber feeling and it pops back up. That's the same as this one. This one is a spring, so you go, it travels, and then there's a spring that pops it back out. If they could change those Z buttons to be more poppy and have less travel, I think that would make me a lot happier. But everything else feels good. The R and L feel really good. All the buttons feel really good. They're a little smooth. The Nintendo 64 ones are rounded. These are flat. So the A and B buttons, I wish the A and B buttons were rounded because I feel like they feel a little bit better when they're rounded. These are completely flat and they're a little more lower profile, but you can still put your finger across them okay. The C buttons are a little more contoured inward, so putting your finger in there and rocking it around, that feels better, but the A and B buttons being flat, I think I would prefer them to be rounded. And then the Z buttons. Oh shoot, I didn't try the turbo. Let me try the turbo really quick. And then let's go from there. Doing it right? Shoot faster than the turbo does, so I don't. Yeah, that's weird. I can shoot faster than what the turbo's doing. So this is me shooting pretty quick. With the turbo. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Let me look at the instructions real quick. God, I have them with me. They're somewhere. So there you go. Those are my first impressions of the Retro Fighters Brawler64 controller. I really, really like it. It feels really comfortable. They did a really good job with it. This is so awesome. And the thing that I appreciate and can appreciate the most is just the fact that they modernized the controller. Our Nintendo 64 controllers are dying. That's absolutely real. The joysticks are dying. You can repair them. It's a little bit of a lengthy process to actually physically repair them quite a bit. And then greasing them and keeping your stick tight and stuff like that. Now you don't have to worry about that. So with the controllers that are dying and the actual real controllers going up in price a lot, they're going to continue to go up in price because the more we play with those, the more they're going to die. Don't play the first Mario Party because you're going to kill your stick. I'd actually be really interested to play the first Mario Party with the thing, but I just don't have enough time. I think the video would be too long if I tried to play the first original Mario Party. But Anyway, there you go. Retro Fighters Brawler64 controller. I love it with the few little exceptions that I said before. It's great. Buy one, support them. They did a really good job. And the biggest thing is they put so much love into it, and they listen to us as gamers. So that's so cool that they did that. I really appreciate them. And there you go. Enjoy your day. Nintendo 64 fun time.
Please,
Avery, say be nice,
please,
stay positive,
please,
and always be gaming.
I get it.